Hello and welcome everybody to Mexico News Network's The Travel Insider. My name is Sofia Rattinger and joining me is financial analyst Mr. Elliot Bullman.
Good morning, Sophia. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Great, thanks. And welcome everybody to another edition. We've got great news coming up for you today, but before we start, remember to check us out on all our social networks, Facebook, Twitter and Google+. And you can follow us daily also on MexicoNewsNetwork.com for relevant stories and news. Let's start with the information.
The exchange rate slows down travels abroad. With the situation of the dollar in relation to the Mexican peso, Mexicans have chosen to vacation within the country, since according to the statistics, the percentage of people who traveled abroad during July and August fell by 0.9% compared to last year, resulting in the first fall at an annual rate for a similar period so far in this presidential administration.
The information provided by the Banco de Mexico, commonly known as Banxico, counted almost 974,000 tourists last year. In 2016, the number was reduced to around 964,000. The drop in July and August, when the US dollar reached 19 pesos per unit, was the first decrease in the departure of Mexican tourists, after the constant growth of this sector in the first 3 years of the government of Enrique Peña Nieto.
That's right. According to reports from Banxico, the number of Mexican tourists who traveled by plane in July and August of 2013, the first year of Peña Nieto's presidency, was 846,000, while in 2014 it increased to 888,017, and in 2015 to 973,705. And now we are facing this reduction that could even be greater in time.
However, the Quintana Roo delegate of the Secretariat of Labor and Social Welfare, Enoel Perez Cortes, affirmed that during the trimester of July to September 2016, the unemployment rate was 2.9%, much lower than the one in 2015, which reached 3.9%. So the state remains below the national rate for 2016, which is 3.93, according to the National Institute of Statistics and Geography.
And in contrast, this last quarter of 2016, the figures revealed that the rate increased considerably, reaching 3.6 percentage points. However, the delegate said he was confident that this figure will decrease given the employment dynamics of the area, as it is with the arrival of tourists during the winter season that hiring increases.
Yeah, totally. The largest flow of visitors is in the holiday period after the 24th of December, so in January the unemployment rate should be lowered. The official said that by 2017 it's hoped that employment prospects will grow despite speculation about the dollar and the difficulties that this can bring for the generation of companies and the hiring of salaried workers. So yeah, what's recently been reported, of course, is a lot more support being pledged towards Mexico from foreign companies coming in, and the increase of tourism for next year. I mean, Delta and Aeromexico have just signed a landmark agreement. So, I mean, we can see statistically that things are going to be great for employment and great for tourism, I think, for next year.
Oh, that sounds great for the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In other news, the Secretary of Tourism, Enrique de la Madrid Cordero, reported this December 21st that the Mexican tourism industry grew 7 times in the reception of international tourists during the first 3 years of the current federal administration compared to the same period of the previous government.
That increase allowed Mexico to return to the top 10 most visited countries by international tourists in the ranking of the World Tourism Organization. According to the study, Panorama of Tourism in Mexico, prepared by the National Tourism Business Council and the Anáhuac University, Mexico climbed 1 step on the list of the most visited countries in the world, moving from 9th to 8th position. In America, only the United States surpasses it in attracting international tourism. No one else, neither Cuba, Brazil, Canada or Peru. Mexico remains the king of tourism, and perhaps by 2018, it will reach the 6th international place.
Oh yeah. Well, that's very interesting. I didn't know that, but what I did know is that in period from 2013 to 2015, there was the biggest increase in the history of foreign exchange earnings, capturing $5 billion more than in the past administration.
Yeah, and according to De La Madrid himself, the tourism balance recorded revenues of $7.636 billion in 2015, while at the end of 2009, the surplus reached $4.3 billion. He also stressed that in the first 10 months of 2016, 9.3% more international tourists arrived in the country compared to the same period of 2015.
And in regards of this impulse for the international tourism, did you know the head of government of Mexico City, Miguel Ángel Mancera, signed a memorandum of tourism cooperation with the mayor of Panama, José Blandón, in order to encourage flows of visitors between both cities?
I did hear something about that, but I must say I don't know much about it.
Well,
Tell us more.
I'm going to tell you something about that. In addition to exchanging statistics and actions in the tourism sector, the government of Mexico will launch programs such as Enjoy Mexico City, Operation Toca Puertas, and Mis Raíces. Besides promoting the attractions of Mexico City in Panama, the capital will announce in promotional and advertising spaces, as in the metro network, the tourist offer of that country.
So, pretty interesting news. I mean, more growth in Central America. Also, we're seeing a stronger alliance now with China. I mean, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with China in the first few months of the year because, of course, we know there's some tension going on right now between the Trump administration and China, but pro-tourism, they're very much promoting the alliance of Chinese international tourists coming here. So,
yeah, we hope to see great things here.
Yeah, absolutely. A strong year, strong start to the year.
And finally, on a past edition of the Travel Insider, we mentioned that the director of the Tourism Promotion Trust of Cozumel and Riviera Maya said that strategies are being prepared to find other tourist sectors to keep the destination busy even in low seasons. Among the many projects being considered is attracting more convention and business tourism. Now, more than ever, that seems like a safe bet. For business, travel in Mexico grew by 11% in 2016.
Yeah, and a similar behavior is expected for 2017, since for the first months of the year, there'll be a moderation in the realization of events and a detonation towards the second half of the year with an estimated spill of about $28 billion. Incidentally, in general, $19 billion are spent in tourism in Mexico, of which 18% is contributed by meetings and conventions.
Participants in group incentive programs have an average spend of $1,150, exhibitions $870, corporate travel $855, and congresses $819. This industry attracted around 14 million domestic and foreign tourists who attended events or meetings, making it one of the strongest sectors in Mexico. Therefore, encouraging its growth, it's important for the country.
And regarding the international congresses and events, these could also be increasing since Mexico became one of the most attractive countries due to the exchange rate, infrastructure, and air connections.
Well, and also the medical tourism. A lot of conventions, a lot of meetings here in Cancun and Riviera Maya.
Yeah, absolutely. Very strong. And there's new openings of hotels designed for these exhibitions anyway, earmarked for 2017. So we'll see a lot more growth of that sector.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you all for staying with us. This was the Travel Insider. My name is Sofia Rattinger.
And I'm Elliot Bullman. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget to catch us on all our social networks, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and on our website, MexicoNewsNetwork.com, for more stories about Mexico and the world. Until next time.